Almost daily, hospitals struggle with the impossible question, who gets an ICU bed? In public health facilities, the most precious resource is not medicine, it is capacity. And right now, capacity is scarce. The doors to the intensive care unit at the University Hospital of the West Indies open to a world where time moves in beeps and blinking lights. Monitors pulse relentlessly, ventilators push air into fragile lungs, and infusion pumps drip measured hope into tired veins. Doctors move quickly between beds while nurses watch every screen with unbroken focus, knowing a single number can mean life or death. In one cubicle, an elderly man clings to life, wires and tubes stretching from his body to machines that breathe for him and monitor his vital signs. Green light rhythms flash across a dark room, rising and falling like a fragile promise. Outside the glass, nurses sit, but never rest. Their eyes locked on oxygen levels, blood pressure readings, and the slightest change in rhythm. Inside this ICU, survival is fought for every second by determined hands that refuse to let go. In Jamaica, when accidents increase, when surgeries go wrong, when strokes strike, when infections spread, the ICU fills and every delay increases risk. But there are more emergencies than beds.
An intensive care unit, or the ICU that people refer to it as, is the area in the hospital that we attend to the most critical of patients, the most vulnerable, the sickest of patients. Those who, one or more of their organ systems is failing or has failed. And we believe that if we give them targeted therapies and support, that we can offer them a reasonable prospect of recovery or survival. So the very sickest patients come to us and we help them to survive. So obviously that's important to any hospital setting, especially one like ours at KPH.
The statistics will show that SAV will see patients just as busy as Cornwall Regional in terms of patients of severity of injury, for trauma patients. From a general surgery point, the diversity of patients that we operate on, for cancer patients, cholecystectomies, etc. Similar to Cornwall Regional Hospital, all our patients that we'll get here on medicine, our myocardial infarctions, our cerebrovascular accidents, those patients will also require intensive care. So there's no difference. But however, because we don't have an intensive care unit, the continuation of care is lost. We have to transfer the patients to Cornwall, Kingston Public Hospital, or to the University Hospital.
In October 2024, Charmaine Pete walked into the hospital expecting relief after what she thought was a simple procedure to remove fibroids. It would take 3 hours, she was told. But 7.5 hours later, the theater doors were still shut. Something had gone wrong. Infection, complications, her body began shutting down. Then the sentence no family is prepared for.
Eventually, she went in the ICU for about a week. They had to sedate her every single day because this infection was taking over her body. Her lungs collapsed. We don't know what was happening. The doctors didn't know, so she was like a guinea pig. They're doing research, trying to figure out what is causing this infection. And we're not sure if she was going to live or if she would pull through. But after a week and days back and forth in the ICU, eventually she pulled through. There are days that we see improvement, and then another time there is nothing. Doctors confused.
Charmaine spent 7 days in the ICU, attached to machines that measured whether she would live. In total, she spent 28 days in hospital. But while she fought infection, her family says they were told to buy supplies.
One is a mesh that they need to put on there. Once they remove the fibroid, to put it on it so it won't grow back. And there's another tablet and more than one stuff. Because even like the week before, I got another call that I had to get a tablet, which that tablet, I couldn't get that tablet because I had to be calling all over. I even called down at Kingston Public, and they said that I should not be calling about that tablet because only a doctor or somebody from the hospital is allowed to buy that tablet. So I had to get it somewhere from another doctor. When we went to the hospital, because they had to check in and they do the blood work and all of that and check my heart, and they said everything was fine. Still, they had to get some blood thinners. So I had to get that as basically like the day before the surgery. So I had to be running up and down a lot of stuff.
Survival came with a receipt. And when she was finally discharged, a bill. Heavy. Overwhelming because even when you secure an ICU bed, the costs can follow you long after discharge.
The cost of the surgery was $250,000, but I used my insurance, so it went down to about $50,000. We did the surgery. After everything was done, when I got the receipt from it, it went from $50,000 to $1.5 million. The insurance covered 1.2, and then they minus the 50 that was paid before from that.
December 17, 2022, David Edwards was returning to Kingston from church in St. Mary. He was transporting members of his singing ministry when his vehicle was involved in a deadly crash. One of the passengers died while David suffered severe brain injuries.
They transferred me from St. Mary to Kingston Public Hospital because at the time I was not stable enough to be transferred directly from St. Mary Hospital to University Hospital. So I had to have a hospital to house me while I was recovering to be transferred to University Hospital.
Machines control the swelling in his brain, while specialists work through the night.
My brain injury, severe subdural hematoma, is resolving even though there are some challenges. My speech is getting clearer than before. My speech was pretty garbled from before. I had a lisp that was clearly recognizable. My walk is getting better because of the spinal damage. I believe I had a lower spinal damage, and I believe some bones were broken, and because of that I could not walk. I could not walk at one point.
But the system was strained. Ironically, the man who helped him get there, David Walker, months later suffered a stroke. He also needed ICU. His story ended while undergoing treatment.
Us being the same name, put me in a sense, and the fact that we have such a close connection, put in a sense of grief. But I had hope, and I was praying to God that He would actually overcome the situation just as I did. And really and truly, to this very day, I still haven't come to terms with the fact that he's gone. I think God was the one who saved me through the ICU, through the use of the ICU. I think being in ICU actually saved me.
So you're saying if you weren't to work at you wouldn't have had an ICU space? Why would you say that?
Well, I'm not saying that directly. What I'm saying is that because I work at the hospital and because I know persons and have certain connections, that is possibly the reason why I was able to be transferred there without any problems.
In Westmoreland, Adriana Leng suffered from severe burns. Burn injuries are among the most complex medical emergencies. They demand sterile environments, advanced monitoring, critical care, ICU. But specialized ICU beds are not everywhere. For her father, every minute felt like betrayal because in burn care, infection can kill.
I'm just living like a half-hour drive from south. I'm where the incident took place. So basically, when I heard that the hospital doesn't have an ICU, or a bed or something like that, and they had to take the children or the child to Montego Bay or Kingston, it would be very hard for any parent to really traverse that journey on a daily basis. Basically, that expense from Westmoreland to Kingston is very rough, and you'd have to either have family in Kingston or Montego Bay or rent a place there to stay to really be that close to your loved one that is in that bad situation.